I've heard so many people, oh, I don't really like sourdough. And I'm like, you haven't had mine. I think people's idea of what sourdough is or could be is very small. I'm putting a lot of thought and high-end ingredients, and I'm really working on trying to take care of people. Like, I want to make the best, most beautiful bread that I can, so that's the new idea of what bread should be. My involvement with food before the pandemic was I was an aspiring chef. I had worked at several different restaurants, and then once the pandemic kind of put on the lockdown, then we spent a lot of time at home, and then I started baking, and next thing you know, it went from 2 loaves a week to 4 loaves a day. Now I make, anywhere between 80 to 100 plus loaves a day. Trying to get your loaves to pop or to rise is actually hard. And so the day that I happened to crack that code, I happened to be listening to Hamilton musical in the background. When you're living on your knees, you gotta rise up. And I was like, oh, that would be an awesome name for what I'm doing, like Rise Up. And it fit on so many different levels, because in the song it's saying, if you're being oppressed, you gotta rise up, you gotta speak up. And there was all this stuff going on in the world, and I was at the same time working really, really hard to make my bread rise. So it kind of all came together. I love sourdough. That's why I only make sourdough. I have one is a paella-inspired loaf, with chorizo and paella spice mixes and garlic and red bell peppers.
And it's all good, baby.
My ube loaf, it's been a labor of love. Ube is a purple yam from the Philippines. It's bright purple, it's got a nice sweet smell. It lends itself well to sweets in general. Bestseller, the one I sold the most, the one I made first, is my OG. That's my lowest price one for the masses. It's got the least amount of things in it, but it's still got beautiful flour, organic flour, time and love is going into every loaf. The logo is, I wanted it to feel like what resistance means to me, which is everyone standing up and saying, we're not going to take this anymore. The status quo isn't okay anymore. We need to make a change, and that comes from people. And bread feeds the masses. So I just took those two things and put it together. This is my resistance. This is my rise up. This is my stand up and make something for the people, by the people. This is something I can be a part of where I can make a change. I am a strong believer that we should take care of one another. And so I started a program with Rize Up called the Pay It Forward. There were times when I was young where I was homeless, where we were homeless as a family, and the only way we got by was on the kindness of others. And so I wanted to incorporate that into a monthly, daily occurrence with what I use my hands to do, which is feed people. And so I worked to put something up on my site where people could purchase a loaf for themselves and purchase a loaf to be paid forward. And when I would get 60, 80, 100 of them, I would make beautiful, high-end, high-quality organic bread, and I would go deliver it to homeless shelters or to feed the elderly. So I basically keep track of that and give people an opportunity where if they want to make a difference, they can make a difference with me, through me, for the greater good. I've been a guy who kind of swims upstream, I'm too big to do this, I'm too tall to do that, I'm not the right color to do this. So starting this became a way for me to express myself. I've never seen a black baker in my entire life. There are certain things that people don't equate with blackness. It's like, oh, if you're black, you don't do this. Or, oh, you're not black if you do that. And I've never really fit into any box anyway, but I definitely wanted people to see me as this is what I am and this is what I do. I will set a good example for other young black men and women. I could be that too. I never thought I could ever be this. I never even looked to be this because there was no representation of me as that at all. And so now I play that part, and I am very excited to be that for someone else.